You know, I may be a little late on the boat on this one, but I just got done watching Blackfish again. And I've watched it before, don't get me wrong. But it gets me. Every freaking time. The fact that SeaWorld was basically condoning the mistreatment of animals kills me. To the detriment of their workers, their employees, the people they're supposed to care about. Never mind the animals that were entrusted in their care that they're supposed to care about that they obviously didn't give two shits about. You take a big ass killer whale. What do they weigh? A couple ton? Something like that? Yeah. And you stick them in a small ass swimming pool, essentially. Because that's what it is to them. It's a swimming pool. Let's be blatantly honest. When you take a couple of ton animal and you take them from the ocean and stick them in essentially a bathtub, and you don't think that's going to have repercussions? You don't think they're going to be angry? Duh! What kills me is when this all started, they were whaling in Washington. And it got to the point where Washington basically said SeaWorld had to stop. SeaWorld specifically. They didn't mention anybody else. Just SeaWorld. They were kicked out. They weren't allowed to go there no more to whale. So what do? Oh, it's okay. We'll just pick up and we'll go to Iceland. We'll get the whales from Iceland. What happens? Oh, they get their whales, but they managed to kill several of them in the process. By the time it was all said and done, I think they said they had 3 dead whales. They cut the stomachs open, filled them with rocks, and let them sink to the bottom of the ocean. Let that sink in for a minute. Please, just let that sink in. And for what? Money? Because you damn sure didn't put it back into the whales. Now, several of the trainers said that the reason that they stayed was because of the whales. They didn't know what would happen to them. They were afraid. I can't speak to that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I will say, shame on them all. Shame on every fucking one of you that allowed that to happen. I mean, when you know those animals are kept in such maltreatment, and Tillicum, the one that killed Don Bradshaw, poor, God rest her soul, poor lady, and then SeaWorld's gonna blame her. Oh, it's her fault. She had a ponytail. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you listen to yourself? Whether the woman had a ponytail or not, you were forcing her to get in and out of the water with a fucking 2-ton whale. A 2-ton whale. They could easily squash her like a bug. And did in fact squash her like a bug, no pun intended. God rest her soul. I feel bad for Tillicum too, though. Just as bad as I feel for her, I feel for that poor whale. Because they took him when he was a 2-year-old in Iceland. Took him right off his mother when they know they spend their lives in pods with their families. They don't leave them. They spend their lives in pods with them. Oh, we're doing them a favor. They die at 30 years in the wild. No, they don't. Science has proved they can live up to 100 years. You're decreasing their lifespans exponentially. Exponentially. Never mind the fact that you take him and you put him in a small park arena. Marina. It's basically a park, though. It's a floating dock. I think they said it was 20 by 30 foot. Think about that. Maybe when he was small, sure. But as soon as he gets bigger, you're screwed. Never mind the money it's going to take to feed him. We both know that you guys don't want to put out that kind of money, so you're going to starve them. And then they put him in with 2 other whales that already know what they're doing. And then when the poor little whale can't do what they're doing, they beat him the fuck up. They said he was all bloody, had scrapes all up and down his body, teeth rakes, from the other whales beating the shit out of him. At night when they put him alone in a little cage. I think they said from, what'd they say, 10 p.m. to 7:30 the next morning or some shit like that. It was an absorbently long amount of time, nonetheless. And I'm sorry, but for all of this to happen, for a trainer to die, for SeaWorld to have to go to court to fight, oh, we need our trainers in the water. Why, so you can kill more of them? They're whales. You cannot predict what they're going to do. They don't like you. You might think they do, but they don't. And according to scientists, they're some of the smartest animals on the planet. So, I really don't think if they had another alternative, they would deal with you. Okay? That's number one. Number two, the fact that you managed to basically make a fortune off these poor whales by making them perform time and time again with no routine, no nothing, and then to put them in a pool alone, it's just boredom. They're used to roaming the ocean. They have tons of things to do in the ocean. Things to play with, other animals to see. To what? A pool with concrete? Think about that for a second. It's basically the same as putting a human in solitary confinement. No. You people ought to be ashamed of yourself, and karma's a bitch, I'll tell you that. Karma is a fucking bitch, because it will come and get you in the end. So I hope you enjoyed it while it lasted, SeaWorld. Oh, well, we don't do it no more, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because you don't have, because you have to. Let's be honest. If OSHA wouldn't have fucking taken you to court and sued you and put their foot down, you would have never stopped, and more people would have died, and you would have just been okay with it. Because as long as SeaWorld's making a buck, why the fuck should anybody else care, right? No. You people are honestly the scum of the earth. And the fact that our government let it go on so long astounds me, because that can't be the first time they heard about it. There were plenty of incidences before then that brought into question what the fuck was going on there. Plenty. That wasn't the first time Tillicum had killed somebody it wasn't the first time he had injured somebody. I'm sorry, I misspeak. He had injured several before, but I think that was the first time he had actually killed somebody. I could be crazy, but I thought he killed one other person. I might be misspeaking. He may have only killed poor Dawn. But I thought there was another young lady involved, I believe. At, like, the Canadian park before he went back to SeaWorld. Because he was at a Canadian park for a while. Which is where I believe he killed the first one. I believe. And then he went back to SeaWorld and he got poor Dawn. And I don't know that I necessarily blame him. As horrible as that all is. She certainly didn't deserve to die. But as horrible as that all is, I don't know that I can blame that poor animal after what SeaWorld put him through. And then to make them have babies, well below their natural lifespan. In the wild, they don't have babies until they're 14, 15. I mean, it's not exactly around the same time as humans. Most humans want to wait until they're a little bit older, but we all know there is a teen pregnancy rate in humans. It does happen. So, it's similar to, like, humans, I want to say. At least the closest to. They live to, like, almost 100 years, and they start having, their babies when they're about 14, 15. Now, SeaWorld takes it upon themselves to start making them have babies and inseminating them when they're like 6, 7 years old. They're basically still babies themselves. And then, as soon as they have them, you want to take them. You take those babies away from their mothers. They said the one mother, when they took her last baby from her, she freaked out every time, but when they took the last one, she literally rammed the cage between them as hard as she could. She was making these long-range vocal sounds. They had to bring some senior analyst in to analysis it, of course. They said that she was trying to call her baby. Well, no shit! Did it take an expert to figure that out? That she's upset because you took her baby from her? When they lived together in pods all their life? No shit. You people have to be as dumb as a box of rocks. or just don't care. And that's the option I'm going with, everybody. Well, maybe they didn't realize, or da-da-da-da. No, they knew exactly what they were doing, and they were doing it for profit. So, why not hit them back where it hurts? I'm sorry, that whole issue just disgusts me. Yes, this is years later, and they're not really doing it anymore, but the fact still stands that they got away with it for how many years and made millions. Millions! Off the backs of those poor whales. Let alone the trainers they injured. You ought to hit them back in their pocketbook where it's really going to hurt. Shut them the fuck down, period. And then find the shit out of them. Shut them down, period, and find the shit out of them. But of course, we know that won't help. We know that won't happen. The elites aren't going to let that happen because, of course, they're probably paying them off. I'm telling you guys, it's all in a circle. Every bit of it. What goes around comes around. And it always leads back to them. I'd like to know when we, the people, are going to get smart enough to start auditing them. That would be fucking great. That would be absolutely fucking wonderful. But thus ends my little rant today. I'm still sick to my stomach about the whole situation. The whole thing just makes me sick. But it is what it is. There's evil people in this world. Very, very fucking evil. Oh, well, we're helping conserve the species. No, you're not. Because I don't know how many whales they killed in the process. How are you helping conserve a species if you're killing tons on the way up? No. I mean, I understand that some of them were born in captivity. But if that's the case, put them in an ocean pen where they have room to mingle with other creatures. But make sure it's safe for them. You don't have to do this. This is absolutely horrid. Oh, well, we can't introduce them to the wild. You're right. You probably can at this point because you've kept them for fucking umpteen years making money off their backs and made these poor whales miserable and to the point where they have no other choice but to act out aggressively and hurt somebody. Leave nature the hell alone. Stop fucking with it if you don't have to. I'm all for helping whales, like if they're injured, sure. But return them. That's the thing people have a hard time with. Letting them go. Why is that? I get that you want to help these animals, but you're not helping them by keeping them. Think about that. But I mean, it just astounds me because all they did was lie the entire time. Didn't matter. They lied about absolutely everything, and every incident that happened with that whale, they blamed on the trainers. Really? The one whale literally landed on the guy while they were doing a trick. He did nothing wrong, but yet it was his fault, don't you know? SeaWorld, I hope you see this. You're horrible. Absolutely horrible, and I don't know how you deserve to stay open. I don't. If people were smart, they would start to boycott you altogether. I will never ever support you as long as I live, nor bring my son there. Bye.